She actually said Israel has morally corrupted the West.
They did.
Explain.
They did. Yeah, they did. Because the West has been telling us all about like human rights and equality, but it seems that the equality and human rights doesn't work with when you're brown, or when you're Arab, and when the perpetrator is Israel. So this, like, look, and it's very easy. Like, look how people like reacted when Ukraine was bombed, and how people. But of course, like, oh, you cannot compare Putin with Hamas, because listen, if ISIS itself was in Gaza, there is no excuse to to kill 30,000 people and injure 70,000 people. There is no excuse, and there is no excuse to telling that you are clearing, because those 30,000, those 100,000 killed and injured, they have family and they have people. What you have done is just creating 100,000 Hamas fighters.
I'm going to get onto that in a second, but one thing that is interesting is the development of how more and more as this conflict prolongs between Israel and Hamas, is that it's portrayed as a Jewish-Muslim conflict, and the whole issue that it's essentially founded in a land issue has been lost.
This has been the propaganda used, is like Islam against Judaism, and unfortunately many of the people on the Arab side has fallen into that. It is not a religious thing, because a lot of those Palestinians are Christians, and a lot of the Jewish people who lived in the Arab world, they lived in a much better place, and they were treated much better than they were treated in Europe. And a lot of those Jewish people escaped from Europe to find refuge in the Arab world. This is all about using religion in order to drive a certain political narrative. And I was always against the Islamization of the conflict. I always said that, like, making this as a Muslim versus Jewish thing is very, very, very dangerous, and it's very counterproductive. It is about a group of people who were driven out of their land, and now they're using religion in order to justify it.
And that can actually spread it to those who live outside the region anyway. That's the real...
A lot of the Palestinians who come to my shows are Christians. And a lot of Egyptians and Arabs who come to my show are Christians. They're using religion in order to make this as a reductive conversation is very, very, very dangerous.